I don't know whether non-creative will understand this, is it wasn't a choice. Hello, dreamers. This is Sophie again. I'm a watercolorist and I am the owner and artist of Dreaming Watercolor. Walk back to my second episode of my podcast where I'm talking about being an artist, run a business, and being a single mom, just all things in a mush. And if you are here for the first time and you're uninformed, um, you are my therapist, and I am the oversharing person. So, um, thank you for being here. Today, in this episode, I am going to talk about um, the scary aspect of finding out that you are what the world call a creative person. So, um, as always, I like to talk a little bit about one of my artwork. So today I'm talking about my painting. It's named Glory. Glory is one of my very first bigger piece watercolor. It is a watercolor piece of looking up at a cathedral, like looking, admiring at something that's bigger than myself. So the place in the picture is called St. Eustace Cathedral, and it's in Paris. It's the second largest cathedral in Paris. At this particular nave in the St. Eustache, they don't have stained glass window here. But when I was painting this, I uh, just came back from Barcelona, and I visited La Sagrada Familia, and I saw colorful air, and that was breathtaking. So I was very determined to paint colorful air. So I made my artistic interpretation or recommendation in this painting, and it turned out I like it. It's very satisfying. It's been received well. It received award. It was a award-winning piece at one of the exhibition in Malik Terrace. So if you would like to support a real artist who paint with on real paper with real uh paint and brush, uh, go to my website, and it's available in prints of on all sorts of materials. So let's get back in topic. The scary truth about being a creative. So I am very sure that I have always been a creative person. Even when I was in grade school, I I was extremely inattentive in class. Um, I see my fifth grader daughter do that all the time. When I'm talking, the teacher or talking, or other people talking, and she's doodling on her worksheet or on the slideshow, the paper, or on her test paper. And that's what I was doing as a kid all the time. Only she's not getting in trouble. I was. I was getting in trouble a lot. So um, I was so discouraged from doodling that I started to doodle only in secret, because that was considered um not ideal. I need to, just get over it, shut it down, because it was getting in the way of my homework and all, not ideal as kids, as a traditional Asian family kids, excessive doodling, not good. Um But what people did not understand, I don't know whether non-creative people understand this, is we didn't, it wasn't a choice. Um, it it's like people who need to exercise or wiggle or move. It felt like to me that if I don't doodle, um, it's like I have to hold it in me. And if I'm allowed to doodle again, then it's almost like a throw up. Like I held all this doodle energy in me and I need to do it. But after becoming a grown up, um, you know how people say that you go through a lot of life just going on a track where social society expects you to be on? And I was very much on this track. I'm, going to college, get a degree, get a family, get a job, raise kids, get a house. I was well on my trajectory where, well, to a point that very little people around me know that I doodle, that I need to, I have creative energy that needs to be released out of me. So I was building up like a pressure cooker. So I character myself right now, um, uh, what I experienced back then, that I was a closet doodler. I just couldn't come out of the closet and introduce myself. And I didn't feel I was ready. I didn't feel the need to, because the risk was just too high. Actually, when I went to college, the first major that the first college that I went to was UT Austin. I got in the fine art school in UT Austin, but my goal was to get into their design program, because I couldn't wrap my head around being a fine artist. I thought I had to to justify being in a fine art department, I have to do something more functional. It needs to be more than just art. So I asked to be in the design program, which I eventually got in, and I just couldn't stand it. Nothing made sense to me. So I dropped out of art school after a year. It terrified me because I thought I sucked at art, and I just proved it. I sucked at art. So I decided that instead of pursuing something that I like, I should just pursue a career in something useful. So yeah, that's how I became a physical therapist. Very useful, useful skill. Tons of information that's millions miles away from being an artist. I had a doctorate degree in physical therapy. Um, because it was it was a good profession, and I enjoyed working with people. I enjoyed uh I enjoyed doing something very fulfilling. And I took a lot of pride in being a physical therapist for many years, but I also know that I didn't want to go to work. I was very conflicted. I didn't want to go to work. It was hard for me to go to work every single day. I had to pep talk myself in the mirror to go do the job. And I just expected that that's the same for everybody. You rarely meet those unicorns that actually enjoy their job. And I just said, okay, I'm not a unicorn. I'm like everybody who struggle with going to work. But I for all this time, I was keeping my creative energy within, and I tried to push it back into my head. I tried to not think about it. During the pandemic years, I stayed home with kids, and to occupy pandemic kids. My daughter was 5 then. My son was even littler. We signed them up for online art classes, and they get to do all sorts of cool crafts, with googly eyes and pipe cleaners, and you tear newspaper up and you make little animals. And yeah, she didn't want to do any of them. She would run around and she would not pay attention, and I would get mad. Um, Not because she was embarrassing me, was because I wanted to do all that. But I'm a grown up now. I'm not supposed to indulge myself in those artistic adventures. And I got that for you. And then you get to indulge all you want, and you want to have nothing to do with it. And I am sitting right next to you trying to convince you to stay on task because you need to finish the little chicken's eyes, which I really want to help you to finish. I just want, and I didn't understand that's the creative part of me. I just thought that I miss being a kid. And so, because it was so hard for her to just stay in the art class, I asked the art teacher, I'm like, hey, how about you and I have a few lessons and you teach me something? And she asked me what I want to learn, and I thought, I don't know. I have some watercolor on hands. How about you teach me how to paint watercolor? So that's when I was taught watercolor, uh, briefly. I was taught, I was reminded of color theories. I was, taught how the medium works. I remember very distinctively, I didn't like it. Um, it was so stressful. The whole pandemic era has kids at home all the time and have marriage problems and have financial stress. I couldn't I couldn't enjoy it. So I put all the paint and brushes away. And so what really um helped me to embrace my artistic skill and the tendency or energy, as you will, was in 2024. I was in the midst of preparing for my divorce mediation or trial. I was very stressed and I couldn't go to work because how stressed I was. So I decided that I need to channel all that anxiety, you know, to do something that people call self-care or meditation. So I still had the watercolor paint and brush and paper. If I sat down and I thought, I can give this another try. And this time, it was so different. I remember I sat down. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. So I sat down. I started painting, and this is the first thing I painted. Can you see that? Oh, the color isn't great. But I painted a pear, and I go, wow, okay, that was really fun. And then I went down to paint something else. I painted an orange, um, and an apple. Yeah. And so that was that was my de-stressing myself in 2024 early spring. And I remember this very distinct moment that I put down my brush, my watercolor brush, and I took deep breath and I said to myself, I don't ever want to stop doing this. Um, this is the first time I have experienced of what eventually I learned the word is the flow stage, where time just passes and you don't pay attention and you forget about everything else in the world and you're just s- solely focusing on what you're doing and you totally enjoy what you're doing and you're one with the art and the process. And then that was amazing. And I thought to myself, I should never stop doing that. And then reality hits. I am going to become a single mom. I was a single mom at the moment, and I have bills to pay, and I have work to do. I don't have time for art. If everything go back to normal, I have to uh work a full-time job. I have to be a full-time mom. I have to take care of my house full-time. I have to take care of me full-time. Art has no place in my life. And that was sad. My logic kicked in and informed my creative side that sorry, we just don't have space for you at this time. And usually my creative energy will yield. It has yielded for decades. But for some reason, it was that moment that something strange happened to my body. I remember I immediately that thought that I should keep on doing this for my life, for the rest of my life, and then I immediately rejected that idea. I had feverish dreams for days, uh, where I just my body was not was in anxiety attack was not about the divorce process but about the rejection of art in my life. I was so sad. I was so angry. I was angry with myself. And it was part of me that just was not having it, was just throwing a fit. And I remember sitting on my bed, you know, not be able to sleep well, having these feverish dreams, and I realized, okay, so I guess that wasn't that wasn't okay anymore with myself. I need to do art in my life now. Um, if if I do art, then it need to serve some purpose in my life. AKA, I need to be able to make income out of it for it to occupy a time slot, a space in my life. And um, there are so many thoughts that went through my head. For example, I have I don't have any artistic people in my life at that time. If you know Seattle or Eastern Seattle, there's a lot of tech companies. So my life, my social circle are filled with people who work for Boeing, people who work for Microsoft, people who work for Amazon, extremely logical people. Nobody even know how to talk about art. There's no appreciation for this kind of thing in my social circle. And I have no knowledge of how gallery works, of how I have never even attended an art show. I remember made peace with myself that will find a way to keep art in my life. I will find a way to make it something that we cannot ignore. And it took me a whole year to get started in having an art business, figure out how and what to do with my art. But yeah, I kept on painting ever since. So now, 24, 25, 26. So this is 2026 right now. And this is a little bit over 2 years since I started painting. Um, I have my own art business. I have been exhibiting my art in numerous galleries, venues. I have attended numerous art shows. I have quit my physical therapist job, and right now I am officially an artist. I changed my friend circle. I surrounded myself with artistic people, entrepreneurial folks. I, yeah, I have a completely different life right now. So I want to be able to share bits and pieces of this journey with you. And I want to do this to record myself in case I forgot what a life-changing um, journey this has been. So you're if you're still here, I hope you are interested in the topics I'm talking about, and I hope you whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on, I hope you subscribe or follow me wherever you're listening, and I have more stories for you in later episodes. I hope my story will reach people who are standing at a pivotal point in their life. And I hope my story will help you to move forward, move in the direction that your life is calling you to move forward, and have that courage, embrace the fear, and still do it anyway. Thank you for being here. In the next episode, I will talk about being a mess. I hope you can relate to that because that's a big part of my life is um, knowing and accepting mess in my life and still thrive within my own messiness And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you and keep on dreaming.